the Tokyo 2020 Olympic and Paralympic Games. To the people of Tohoku in their 10th year of reconstruction, it was a golden opportunity to show their gratitude and how far they have come to the countries and regions that supported them after the Great East Japan earthquake. In 2017, the government of Japan launched the Arigato Host Town for Supporting Reconstruction initiative for the municipalities of Iwate, Miyagi, and Fukushima, where the damage was particularly great. The aim was to host teams of athletes for pre-games training camps and post-games exchanges, and engage in a variety of sports, cultural, and economic activities with countries and regions that provided support. Local governments that signed up for this initiative did their best to make preparations and welcome the athletes through omotenashi hospitality and exchange programs. However, what lay in store for them was the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic.
毎日中止です、中止です、中止ですと。
選手の皆さんが出発される時は本当に悲しくても悔しくて涙が出てくるような感じでしたね。
But this didn't stop local governments and citizens from doing their best to promote exchanges while taking steps to prevent infection.
マットさんございました。ことぶきニュースのお時間でございます。
The Olympic and Paralympic Games were held not only for the athletes. The Games meant something for the people of Tohoku too. Motomiya City, surrounded by rice paddies, is found in central Fukushima Prefecture. It has thrived since ancient times as a transport hub and retains the atmosphere of days gone by. Motomiya suffered great damage in the earthquake, with its infrastructure destroyed and lifelines cut off. Then, 4 years after the earthquake, in February 2015, Prince William of the British royal family visited Japan for the first time. He visited a new children's park opened in Motomiya City after the earthquake, and gave courage to the victims of the disaster as he played with the children. This deepened ties between Motomiya and the United Kingdom.
When our embassy teams visited the region to decide precisely where Prince William should visit, they went to Motomiya City, and when they got there, they found such a warm welcome from the people and so much enthusiasm to support a visit by Prince William that was one of the places we decided he should go.
After that, the park was nicknamed Prince William's Park, with the approval of the royal family, and it continues to bustle with families even today. Then, an English garden was opened within Prince William's Park in 2017. A congratulatory message was received from Prince William.
I remember hearing just how touched he was by that new opportunity for children to be able to play outside when their lives had been so deeply affected by the disaster and by the restrictions on their everyday life. So I know he was delighted to be able to make that contribution to Motomiya City.
In 2017, Motomiya City was registered as an Arigato host town for the United Kingdom. That same year, a project was launched to dispatch citizens, mainly junior high school students, to the UK. They have been visiting the British Olympic Association, schools, and paying visits to Olympians while they train, deepening ties over the years. Kikuchi Shota, in his third year at high school, took part in this project when he was a second-year junior high school student.
英国のオリンピック委員会に行かせていただいて、で当時の会長の多分ビルさんという方とお話をさせていただいたんですけど、これから一緒に復興の面も、そしてこういうオリンピックとかパラリンピックゲームの面も頑張って協力していきましょうっていう言葉を聞いて、こんなに本宮市、福島県のことを思ってくれてるんだなと思って感動したのを覚えてます。
This is a community radio station in Motomiya City. This is Director Ito Yoshio. Yoshio began broadcasting local information on what was happening where from immediately after the earthquake. He used to receive local information and messages of support every day.
電気が来ないので、乾電池でやっと充電した携帯からメールを送ります。頑張ってください。たくさんいっぱい来てます。本当に、毎日、決め事で1ヶ月ぐらいは、いつ大きい地震が来るかわからなかったんで、基本的に私が朝8時から、ガソリン情報を流して、あと地域情報を流すっていう務めはここでさせていただいてました。はい。
The Tokyo Games finally began. It became impossible to invite the British team over for exchanges, but Yoshio set up the Ouchi de Live Saito, or online cheering site, to liven up the region and cheer for the British athletes.
よろしくお願いいたします。
すごいですね。おー、すごいすごい。
The idea was to connect people watching the Olympic and Paralympic Games on TV at home in real time, bringing the locals together to liven up the event amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Yoshio also came up with ideas for banners and other goods to cheer for the team.
お家でいるんだからお家で何かを応援グッズがないと盛り上がらないでしょうと。いろいろと工夫しながら、こういうの始まっちゃうと時間が全然関係なく、全て朝方終わっているという状況で、楽しくやらせていただきました。はい。
綺麗ですね。はい。
On this day, they cheered for the British women's wheelchair tennis and men's para-athletic teams.
ホワイトヘッド選手2位です。メダル獲得です。
I know from some of the athletes and the managers just how grateful they were for the warm support from the people of Motomiya City, and it gave them encouragement when their families couldn't be here and their friends were not there to cheer them on, to see the children and the citizens of Motomiya City giving them warm support. It really made a big difference for them.
このオリンピック通じて終わってからもう一回何か新しい仕掛けが、復興を通じてまたこのイギリスを通じて求めはできるんじゃないかなっていう力は今回の、おうちでライブサイトやらせていただいて少し思ってます。はい。
The Arigato Host Town Initiative. Including Motomiya City, 11 municipalities in Fukushima Prefecture are taking part in hosting people from 12 countries and regions. Ofunato City in southern Iwate Prefecture faces the Pacific Ocean. It's a scenic city blessed with the wealth and beauty of nature. Exchanges between Ofunato and the US were inspired by the ties that were cultivated between the city's firefighters and US rescue teams that came to the city 2 days after the earthquake. It prompted exchanges through sports and culture, and the city became an arigato host town for the US in 2017. Activities have now expanded to include general citizens, such as elementary school and junior high school students. They joined a track and field clinic held in Japan by the US athletes and coaches. Konno Ayaka, in her second year at senior high school, took part in these clinics twice while she was at junior high school. Daryl Woodson was the instructor at these clinics. He coached the men's short distance and hurdles athletes at the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Ayaka was taught how to start races. After practicing, she shortened her 100-meter hurdles time by 1 second and her 200-meter by more than 2 seconds. She recently finished second in a prefectural track and field competition for high school students. There were plans for U.S. track and field athletes to visit the city for exchanges right after the Tokyo Olympics, but everything had to be canceled. A month later, the U.S. and Ofunato were connected for an online clinic. This was also an opportunity for the city to express its gratitude for the support over the years. Ayaka, too, took part.
皆さんは筋肉をつけるためにどのくらいのペースでどのようなトレーニングを行っていますか?
Hurdle or a sled and use and focus on your push mechanics. Always focusing on keeping your hips in front of you and pulling the ground behind you will help you to continue to generate force.
技術面でも的確に教えてくれて、ここがダメとかここが良かったとか的確に教えてくれて、なんかメンタル面でも支えてくれたりして、とても素晴らしい指導者の方です。
Ayaka made steady progress under Coach Woodson's supervision. It was the start of a new season for Ayaka, who is aiming for the top. Konno Eiko runs piano classes in Ofunato. She was involved in inviting jazz musicians from the US in an effort to deepen ties through music by holding concerts and workshops. An online symposium was held in February 2021 to connect countries with their host towns in Japan. During this symposium, the U.S. national anthem was sung relay style, with the cooperation of U.S. host towns throughout Japan to cheer for the U.S. teams. The music was provided by the U.S. Army Japan Band. In this project, music was combined with choruses sung by each of the 7 municipalities hosting U.S. teams. Ofunato City, too, joined this event as an arigato host town, and Eiko took part with her fellow classmates.
Everyone had such beautiful voices. It sounded amazing, and it makes me even more excited for the games this summer. So thanks for your support of Team USA.
国歌を歌うって想像以上にその国が近くなるっていうのが実感です。本当はね、アメリカのアスリートをお迎えして歌うはずだったんですね。で、それもなくなっちゃったんですけど、私たちの感謝の気持ちを表すチャンスだったのにもったいなかったとは思うんですけど、でも逆に考えるとこの厳しい状況の中でやれること、自分たちにできることはやったと。 でその一環が私たちのホストタウンの一連のプロジェクトだったんじゃないかって思うんですね。
In July, before the start of the Olympics, the U.S. Army Japan Band visited Ofunato to deepen ties with its citizens.
友情の印といただいたんですけれども、感謝状です。私会長さんにお礼のメール出したんですけど、日本が一番の友達で本当にまた友好のためにまたオフナトを訪れたいので、こういうのが私が思いますに演説になっていわゆる市役所頼みの交流じゃなくて、こういうのこそ本当に民間レベルの一番大事な交流だと思うんですね。これから生かして何を続けていくかが一番大事だと思います。やっぱりここで言えば市とその市民が一体になって、例えば来年ポストオリンピックで何かしようね、でそのためにみんなで準備しよう、でその準備そのものが楽しいみたいな、はい、うちは楽しくないとやらないので。
The Arigato Host Town Initiative, including Ofunato City, 14 municipalities in Iwate Prefecture are taking part in hosting people from 12 countries and regions. Sendai City, located in central Miyagi Prefecture, is the biggest city in the Tohoku region. The entire city is surrounded by greenery, for which it is known as the City of Forests. During the 2002 FIFA World Cup, the city hosted the team from Italy for a preliminary training camp. This deepened ties between Sendai and Italy. Sendai, too, suffered great damage in the earthquake, particularly along the coast. This elementary school has been preserved to pass on the lessons learned from the earthquake and tsunami to future generations. The blackboard still shows the scheduled graduation ceremony that would have been held 7 days later. Sendai City received strong support from Italy after the earthquake, with the donation of money collected from a football charity match held in Perugia. This led to Sendai City becoming an Arigato host town for Italy. And the city launched the support project Amo Italia with the participation of citizens. The Italian team taking part in a preliminary training camp was welcomed by the entire city to liven up the camp and cultivate an atmosphere of friendship. Then in 2018, the Sendai City team was dispatched to the Under-15 Baseball World Cup held in Italy. After the tournament, the team visited Amatrice, struck by the central Italy earthquake, to engage in exchanges with local children. Furthermore, the Under-16 Italian volleyball team has been invited to play against junior and senior high school students. They also enjoyed Japanese cultural workshops. Such active mutual exchanges continued every year. In May 2019, the Italian women's sitting volleyball team visited Sendai for a training camp before the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games. Sitting volleyball is a sport played sitting on the floor, characterized by the fast movements of players who have to move into position, making full use of their arms and legs. children waited for the arrival of the Italian athletes at their training venue. During a workshop held at an elementary school, there were plans for groups of about 10 children each to take turns playing city volleyball, but everyone ended up joining in at once. The athletes laughed and welcomed them into the court. August 2021. Tokyo 2020 was postponed for a year due to COVID-19. Italian teams taking part in 4 sports, including sitting volleyball, gathered in Sendai for a preliminary training camp in preparation for the Paralympics. An event was held for the general public to watch from the second-floor seats to ensure adequate social distancing. A class was also held for volunteers in one corner of the venue. A lecture was given by Izumida Kazuo, who has supported sports events through volunteer activities since the city hosted the Italian team during the FIFA World Cup. He talked about the importance of volunteering to the young people of the next generation.
幅広く言えば、スポーツを通じて自分たちが住んでいる地域をもっといいものにしようっていう街づくりの活動でもあるんだろうと思うんですね。地域づくりだったり、まさに復興のためにもなっていくのかもしれないですけど。
Abe Ai has been promoting sports in Sendai City. For 4 years, she has been promoting exchanges as a mediator between Italy and Sendai citizens.
私たちとしてはその子どもたちに、イタリアの皆さん選手の皆さんと触れ合う場っていうのをなるべく多く提供したいなと考えておりましたので、イタリアの選手の皆さんもすごく喜んでいただけたので、とても良い時間だったなと思いました。はい。
However, some of the exchange events had to be canceled due to the spread of COVID-19.
東京2020大会というすごい大きな晴れ舞台のために完璧な準備をして差し上げるっていうのはもちろんなんですけど、やはりその市民の皆さんとの交流の場っていうのは選手の皆さんもすごく楽しみにしてくださっていたので、それが準備できなかった、そういう機会を設けられなかったというのはすごく残念でしたし、やっぱりその選手の皆さんが出発される時は本当に悲しくても悔しくて涙が出てくるような感じでしたね。
Ai says she also has many fond memories. One of them was when children came to watch Paralympic athlete Martina Caironi taking part in a preliminary training camp.
One of my favorite episodes would be Martina Caironi. She won 2 silver medals at Tokyo 2020 in para-athletic events. And she took her prosthesis off and showed her leg and her gear to the children. And the children got so curious about her prosthesis as well as her story of life. It was so touching moment, and I believe it helped the children to understand more deeply about the disability and diversity. So we really appreciate it.
The Italian sitting volleyball team finished their preliminary training camp in Sendai. The visit in 2019 to an elementary school struck by the earthquake left a particularly lasting impression on Italian athlete Giulia Aringhieri.
Entri all'interno del luogo in cui veramente si sono perse delle vite o c'è stata veramente una drammaticità così forte, ci ha un po' destabilizzato. Allo stesso tempo vedere come poi è rinato il tutto e come tutto si è mosso per poter rinascere nel migliore dei modi, questo quindi racconto dal momento più drammatico alla rinascita è stato per noi molto significativo, ecco.
Julia's team came in 6th place at Tokyo 2020. She sent a message to Sendai from the athletes' village.
In particolare la città di Sendai è diventata veramente una nostra amica, è un punto di riferimento per noi e tutte le volte che veniamo ospitate nella vostra città siamo veramente concentrate a fare bene il nostro lavoro. Non pesa solo una medaglia, ma pesa l'esperienza che abbiamo fatto qua e quello che abbiamo lasciato in questo paese che ci porteremo a casa. Grazie Sendai, grazie a tutto il Giappone e spero di tornare presto.
The Arigato Host Town Initiative. Including Sendai City, 8 municipalities in Miyagi Prefecture are taking part in hosting people from 8 countries and regions. Gratitude and reconstruction. It has been 10 years since the earthquake. The people of Tohoku are looking toward the future and moving on.
The relationship we've built with Motomiya City is one that I'm sure will be sustained into the future. And as ambassador, as soon as I'm able, I'm really keen to travel to Fukushima, to Tohoku, and to visit Motomiya City. So I look forward to being able to meet everybody then.
交流するっていうのはやっぱりこれから一番必要になってくる経験だと思うんですよね。その日本って枠にとどまっちゃいけないってやっぱ各分野でその世界とつながっていかなきゃいけないっていう中でその外国の方ともその異文化の中でもしっかり交流をしていくっていうのは大事なことだと思いますし。
The Arigato Host Towns for supporting reconstruction. They never gave up despite the COVID-19 pandemic.
東京2020大会の期間は終わりましたけど、これまで私が関わらせていただいた人たちとのご縁はきっと私の人生の中でイタリアの人も含め仙台の人も含め続いていくと思いますので、そういった意味では東京2020が私の中で終わるっていうことはないのかなと思います。
Everyone did their best for Tokyo 2020. And even today, the torch continues to burn within people's hearts.